Every online game has at least one empty server. Be it a wacky community-hosted server that's had no players on it since it began, or an official matchmaking server that is only abandoned for those minute intervals between the end of a previous game and the commencement of a future one. For those typically empty community servers, the vast majority of players either remain unknowing of their existences or regard them as dead. To them, they are places to be ignored. The servers with actual player populations are of greater interest and greater fun. Such servers may be briefly revived by a single player joining them, thus enticing others to come examine what tempted them there. Often, though, these periods are minimal and short-lived, with the server in question soon returning to obscurity. Today, in the interests of the wacky, scary, and downright liminal, I wish to explore several such servers and the maps and plugins they run. I decided to begin with the Gold Source engine, the engine that ran the original Half-Life, due to its age, for which I had two reasons to be intrigued by. Firstly, the servers running on it would likely either be ancient servers with ancient maps and ancient plugins, new servers with ancient maps and new plugins, or new servers with new maps and new plugins, all running on an ancient engine. To me, all of these options provide some level of novelty over modern games. Secondly, Gold Source games can actually run smoothly on my janky old computer. I also chose Half-Life: Opposing Force as the game to be explored, as its servers seem to be largely neglected and vacant. The most total players I saw online at a time was 6, with fewer than 25 open public community servers, so it seems to be a rather unpopular game to play online. With that being said, let us examine some such servers, their maps, their plugins, and, in some instances, their inhabitants. Opening the game and navigating to the Find Servers button, we see a short list of around 20 to 25 open community servers. Compared to most online games, this is a laughably short list. The original Half-Life, for instance, which also runs on the Gold Source engine, has still over 100 open servers, so we don't have room to be picky here. Still, there's much to explore, and plenty of empty servers to examine. There are very few people on after all. I was especially looking for servers with rather eye-catching names, so, of course, the first one I clicked on was Ook's Steaming Pile of Crap, with maps by Ook. Well, perhaps we will examine the quality of these maps for ourselves. There's no one on, after all, so we should have a rather unhindered experience when exploring them. At the time I joined, the server appeared to be running a map called Ook Donut 23. I selected the Connect button, and after a short period of downloading the server's assets, and the map, of course, we are loaded into the game. The first thing I saw was a welcome message. It read, "Welcome to Ook's Maps. Love 'em or hate 'em, here they are. Rules? There are no rules. Shut up and play. If you want to die, stand in a corner. Spawn camping encouraged. Complaints or compliments to haha I killed you. Or Ook." Charming. The map itself was a deathmatch-style arena with a motley of multicolored bricks and tiles. The titular donuts appeared to be these perpetually rotating glass surfaces, I guess, that were rather nauseating to stand on. There wasn't much up there, aside from some weapons and ammunition, which I collected just for safekeeping, but then deciding there wasn't much else to do up there, I jumped down onto a lower platform. Above me was a rather appetizing glue-on gun, which at this point I could not access. So I went on my way, taking a little fall damage in the process, and traveling to a lower portion of the map. I unsuccessfully attempted to jump on this magenta trampoline-type object, and then found a nearby teleporter, which I promptly entered. It transported me below the ground into a magenta box area with plenty of weapons, ammo, and HEV power. With nothing much to do, I exited the area through another teleporter, which teleported me back to the center of the map. It was at this point that I noticed that another player had joined the server. He did not seem to be aware of my presence, and, as I did not know his intentions, I decided to incorporate the classic stand at a long distance and stare at them intently approach. Eventually, he seemed to notice me, ignore the rocket launcher bouncing on the bounce pad, and tried to jump over to me. He also attempted to do a little jumping on the trampoline object, but, realizing his failure, he soon gave up and dropped to the ground. Another player seemingly joined, and the two then engaged in mortal combat, while I escaped to another area. In this area were plastered several images of seemingly random people on the walls. The first one I encountered was flipping the avian, so to speak, which I considered rather rude, so I soon departed. Soon, in another one of these cubby-type areas, I found another glue-on gun within a small enclosure. Around it were displays of no access, radiation hazard, and stop. So, ignoring the literal warning signs, I decided to jump in. Don't know what I was expecting. I respawned and was immediately shot by a crossbow bolt from another player. I respawned again and managed to escape back into the area I was before. There was another image of two ruffians contorting their faces into chuckle-worthy expressions. A nearby teleporter placed me at the tip-top of the level, allowing me to secure the glue-on gun, and giving me a great lay of the land. Other than that, there was an image of this shiny-headed fellow on another one of the walls, and this lass on another. There wasn't much else to do, so I decided to disconnect and look for a new server. Next, we have Ooks Op for Maps, presumably another Ook server. This one was also empty, and seemed to be running the map Gasworks. Rather expectedly, this one had a similar welcome message. It read, "Welcome to Ook's steaming pile of crap. Ook and the Old Farts Club presents, well, just some maps. Have fun. Rules? There are no rules. Shut up and play. If you want to die, stand facing the corner. Spawn camping encouraged." This map was one of the more standard ones that I encountered while exploring these abandoned servers. The spawn area consisted of 3 multi-level towers extending upward from a pool of water below. I took my time exploring the level, including finding a room with a teleporter that took me to another exterior portion of the map. Again, there wasn't much here, but I eventually managed to find my way back to the spawn area. Soon, the server displayed a prompt allowing for players to select what map they next wanted to go to.
It's time to choose.
I briefly perused the list and chose the option that I found most scintillating. In this case, the first option, Skate or Die. In a couple minutes, the map changed. I loaded into a rather generic-looking room, and, pressing the tab button, saw that another player by the name of Ace had joined. I stepped out of the room and found the namesake of the map. Not wanting to die as the map title suggested might occur, I decided that I ought to embrace my inner Tony Hawk Pro Skater and skate. I didn't find much else of interest on the map, aside from when I went to the second story of the center building.
I can't figure it out. Took a little damage, but I can make it. Sorry, sir. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I can't either. Back to the server list, and the next server we have is titled What the FU less than K Merry Fucking Christmas. I guess it's that time of year already. At the time I joined, the server was running the map Suck City. Maybe SUK City? We'll just go with Suck. Upon spawning in, I was greeted with the message, "Welcome to WTF Extreme. What the FU less than sign K play here." Much of the map itself was exceedingly dark, with some areas being completely pitch black. I've left the recording unaltered to demonstrate to you just how dark it was. I wandered around for a bit in the level's empty streets. I found a building marked with a bright neon red suck sign. It was mostly empty inside. While wandering down another street, I witnessed a player spawn before me. Pressing tab revealed this to be the same person that I had met on Skate or Die. I initially ignored him, but upon interacting with him, he appeared to be friendly. We took a little stroll together before I decided to run off and explore the map a bit more. Wacky gadget. Vending machine. A sign in this store said fuzzy animals. There were no such animals. After wandering the vacant streets some more and examining the underside and inside of a semi-truck, the other player on the server began seemingly randomly shooting at the side of a building. I promptly joined him. Afterward, and with the advent of the POW cannon, I made my way onto the roofs of the buildings. There was similarly little up there. So I leapt off the tallest skyscraper I could find and left. Next, we have Erdo's Snipe Low Gravity, which was running the map Snipe New Age 12A. I do like to indulge in a little sniping from time to time, so let's see what this server is all about. This one took over 7 minutes to download all the resources required to join. Even though the server list indicated the map to be empty when I first joined, upon spawning, I was met with this guy. He rapidly approached me and underwent a skin change right in front of me. Then he proceeded to beat me to death with a crowbar. Multiple times. I attempted to explore the map, but there didn't seem to be much of interest. The next server was simply titled B Team and was running the map Frenzy. Upon joining, this happened.
Alert, intruder is Gen 9. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I guess we're going to garage rats. I spawned in on a high-up shelf overlooking an enormous garage. Unfortunately, there were no animal rats. I suppose the players are the rats. I really wish I could have called an exterminator. The ones that were shooting at me, who were bots as indicated by the fact that they had 0 latency, were rather annoying. I leapt from that high-up ledge and soon discovered that the server had grappling hooks enabled. You will see me engage this feature numerous times throughout my exploration of the map, as the only ways to access most areas were either through teleporters or the grappling hook. As the bots spawned in, messages appeared in chat to indicate as such. This one broadcasted that the Jew was lurking. Entering a teleporter, I found myself on another high-up shelf, filled with various jugs, cans, and spray bottles of things I suppose you would expect to find in a garage. We've got hooker headers, MSD ignition, high-temp new cast 100 engine enamel, royal purple, and Valvoline motor oil. The car was not particularly interesting, but the inside of this tool chest was quite red, I guess. I leapt over to another cabinet that seemed to have many of the same boxes and bottles. So I attempted to make my way to the sink, but was peppered by bullets from the bots and soon perished. I respawned atop the garage door and spotted a rapidly rotating apparatus near the sink. I knew what I had to do. I respawned back at the garage door and made my way back over to the sink. I took a dip and found a teleporter within the sink's piping. That's probably why it wasn't draining. A rather common problem, in all honesty. It took me to the tip-top of the map, allowing me to survey my surroundings.
It's time to
1 minute
choose.
remaining.
I was prompted to select what the next map would be. I selected Bad Taste 1, for I wanted to see firsthand if the taste really was that bad. There wasn't much else to see, so I awaited the map change.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alert, intruder is here.
This map consisted of a boxed-in outdoor-type area enclosed by 4 rocky canyon walls. I ran around the outer portion of the map, finding a box suspended high in the air that contained a glue-on gun. There was this sign on the wall that correctly stated that Marxism is retarded. Otherwise, the cobblestone structure in the center of the map didn't have much to explore either. I jumped around a bit more with the grappling hook and didn't find much. I did hop around in this box for some reason.
3 minutes remaining.
Overall, the map was fine, but the bots did certainly leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. I attempted to rejoin this same server later when it was running the map Five Guys Rats. I did want to see how many rats were at Five Guys, but instead it immediately took me to a different map.
10, 9, alert 8, intruder is here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This one was titled Fire Temple. I spawned in next to a neon purple rotating pyramid. Around me were the bleak sandstone walls of an ancient temple. Fascinated by the rotating object, I leapt into it, finding that it was a teleporter. It transported me to another location with similar structures. The map did live up to its name. After running around for a bit, there lay across from me a lava waterfall with jets of fire erupting from its surface.
3 minutes remaining.
Also, Gene Simmons was lurking, I guess. I made my way over to the lava, and after dipping my feet in briefly, I found that it was actually a rather friendly pool of molten rock, for it did not seem intent on hurting me. I leapt down from my position and found that this giant cobra was also rather hospitable. It did no damage and could not be damaged, although it did seem to turn my screen almost completely purple from time to time. How inconsiderate. I got a sick grenade shot off on this bot, and then promptly died. The next server was bluntly titled New York Subway 2023, which was fittingly running the map Subtransit.
Alert, intruder is here.
I spawned in a medium-sized metal room adjacent a conveyor belt, which I had to fight against to escape. This landed me in an exterior area beside a set of subway tracks. I balanced gracefully on the subway tracks, traversing them until I came upon the map's only train car, if you could consider it one, which I activated without hesitation. Results were interesting. In some of the waters beneath the subway tracks, I encountered some interesting player models used by the bots. This one was bobbing around in the water like a fish, presumably due to limited animations. I found Lala, the Teletubby, bobbing around in one of these pools. I promptly put it out of its misery. Afterward, I tried to reboard the train car in an attempt to stop its rampage. Results were mixed. There was this hatch that could be opened with a nearby valve, which led to the same underwater area. This spacious room was of some interest. Otherwise, there wasn't much else to see. The next server I discovered was titled GoldSourceSaturdays.com, which was running the map Leet Street. Instead of Leet Street, I downloaded and was presumably placed on the map Amafel. I spawned into a landscape of dreary white brick and dark gray tiles, with charming patches of blue-green grass spotted about, of stark contrast to all other maps I had yet explored. Floating platforms provided additional intrigue and height variance. I made my way about several of the winding streets and corridors that comprised the map, realized that bots had spawned in, and quickly leapt into this canal, which quickly eliminated me. I spawned into another portion of the map nearby a copper-colored patch of grass, and soon made my way about exploring. I leapt across this chasm, and then intentionally jumped in to see what would happen. While evading the crossfire from the bots, I spied these yellow and gray crates, as well as a dilapidated room behind a piece of semi-shattered glass. In this inaccessible room, those same crates were being conveyed on factory lines. I found myself back at the area with the canal, jumped in once more, and, after several failed attempts, managed to successfully reach the teleporter at the other side. This transported me to an indoor section of the map, with those same winding corridors, and a lift nearby. There was something going on here. I made my way to a few other areas, witnessed this bot jump straight into the abyss, and then left. Next up was the Peony Pavilion, which was running up4_meanie when I joined. The welcome message was of little note, but the map itself was rather interesting. Much of the map transpired within these two enormous, semi-cylindrical rooms with multiple platforms. They were somewhat reminiscent of one Beta Citadel map from Half-Life 2. These two primary spaces were interconnected via a series of tunnels and platforms that ran between them. One was rather plain, but this one contained two raised, semi-enclosed areas accessible by staircases. This graffiti informed me that traitors would die, so I guess I'll avoid betraying anyone on this map. I traversed some of the lower platforms, examining their structure, and found many of them to be rather samey. The teleporter at the end of this tunnel teleported me back to the area with the two raised platforms. These two tunnels appeared very similar to others found on the map, but led to complete dead ends. I ran around for a while longer, but there wasn't much else to see. Next, I visited the St. Denis EU server, which was running the map stalked. I spawned into a fairly tiny and bare-bones indoor map. This bot immediately approached me and was hilariously inaccurate with the firearm. The adjacent room was filled with plenty of indestructible boxes and this odd crane-type object that seemed to serve no purpose. The next room showcased a conveyor belt as its primary attraction. The set of doors at the end of it seemed to serve no function. The last major portion of the map was this spacious basement-like area, the lowest level. It connected to this partially lit balcony-esque area. I also noticed this open ventilation duct in the room with the conveyor belt. After a few attempts, I managed to utilize the server's grappling hook mod to access it. At its terminus was a glue-on gun, which I decided to test out on the bots. I departed soon after, but rejoined that same server later, when it was running the map Space Smugglers. This map occurred in what appeared to be the cargo bay of a sci-fi futuristic spaceship. Presumably, all the crates and boxes we see here are smuggled goods, as indicated by the map title. The structures enclosing many of the map's teleporters were rather intriguing, as were the pirate emblems stamped on many of the ship's cargo containers. This side area was really the only other primary space in the map. It contained a catwalk that led to a set of non-functional doors, as well as a lower area. This was certainly one of the more visually engaging maps I had found. But still, I had explored most of what it had to offer. This server later changed map once more to a map titled Tempest Deluxe. I spawned in to a spacious interior arena, seemingly composed of metal grating and plating. I spied a great number of platforms that provided both visual and gameplay interest, but due to immense crossfire from the resident bots, I had to quickly escape. Outside, the arena was bordered by lava, floating platforms, and these catwalk-esque platforms fenced in partially by these electric griddles that prevented players from jumping off. Many sections of the level were seemingly either powered by or held up by these glass cylinders containing spinning lava. Here's a somewhat better look at the arena. This non-functional door caught my interest. The final area of interest was this outdoor portion that was similarly structured like an arena. It comprised these two flat areas, each surrounded by an energy fence and opposite each other, with a lava waterfall between them. Headshot. After that previous map, I had to ensure that this lava actually dealt damage. It did. And that's about all the servers of interest I could find. These were actually more tame than the ones I'm used to. I sometimes explore empty and miscellaneous servers in my free time, and I've seen plenty of wacky stuff. I will likely do another one of these in the future, regardless of whether this gets a bunch of views or anything. Of course, if you did enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more. And, of course, I'd love to hear your feedback. Should these videos have more commentary, less commentary? Should I cover more servers with less time dedicated per server, or fewer servers with a greater exploration time for each? Also, would you prefer if I put my avatar at the beginning and end of my videos while I'm speaking? I also might change the editing style a bit when I do another one of these. I will likely explore all of the Gold Source games in a row, so you can probably expect either Ricochet or Counter-Strike next. Anyway, that's about all there is to be said. Keep posted.